It's a great day for the record community because today, the Record Store Day Black Friday 2018 lists came out, and we found out what records we're going to be lining up for right after we eat our turkey dinner. Now, some people do Black Friday the crazier way with Walmart and getting all kinds of TVs and nice audio equipment. No. If you're a record fan, you know that Record Store Day Black Friday is a great time to beef up your collection with some awesome collectibles, limited editions, and much needed reissues. This year is no exception. I spent the day perusing the list, as I'm sure most of you did as well. I was looking online to see what everyone was thinking, and overall, the sentiment was not quite as amazing as I expected. I gotta tell you guys, some people are saying this list is weak. It is anything but weak. This is one of the best Record Store Day Black Friday lists I've seen in a very long time. In this video, I'm going to teach you what Record Store Day Black Friday is and tell you my picks, the records that I think you should get on the list. And not just the good, I'm also going to talk about the bad and the ugly. So stick around right after this, Record Store Day Black Friday 2018. Alright guys, so if you're tuning into this channel for the first time because you were looking up info about Record Store Day Black Friday and you weren't quite sure what it meant or wanted to learn tips about it, this is going to be a quick crash course for you. Record Store Day happens twice a year. The first happens in April, the second happens on Black Friday in November. Now, both days have separate lists every year, and on the list are a bunch of rare records that are limited edition, collectible, oftentimes reissues that are much needed because they're out of print, and the only way to get them is to support your local store. Now, caveat to that is, over the past few years, there have been some online sales of certain titles. That is becoming more prevalent as the years go on. So there is a chance that you will be able to get the record you're looking for in the aftermarket or on a record store site a day or two after. Now, I wouldn't bank on that. If there is a record that is super limited on the list, it will probably sell out because stores may get 1, 2, sometimes even 0 copies of the record you're looking for depending on how limited it is. So my first tip for Record Store Day, and the main thing I tell people, is always find out what store you're going to first and decide that based on what records they get in. Talk to them a couple days before Record Store Day Black Friday, see if they got the titles that you want. Sometimes they won't tell you, oftentimes they will. So take that moment, talk to them. If they have the records that you want, see if they'll tell you how many they have, then make a decision about when to queue up. So for me, I've lined up for Record Store Day in April, the bigger one, 12 hours before at times. Now that's a little excessive, but last year I lined up 12 hours before at Amoeba in Hollywood, and I was 55th in line. So you never know. Obviously, Amoeba's a different beast than a random store in, let's say, Kentucky. And as the hobby's been getting bigger over the past few years, I will say the competition is probably more fierce. If you guys have any questions about Record Store Day, leave a comment. I will be happy to answer them for you. I've been doing this for years now, so I'm kind of a pro, and I'm happy to impart any knowledge that I've learned to you guys. Now, I want to talk about the list. There are a lot of amazing titles on here, and I want to share with you what my picks are, so that hopefully you can grab the same at your local store. Unless you're in LA, don't grab my records. First up, I want to say disappointment. I was reading through the list, and the first thing that caught my eye was a record that I've wanted to be on vinyl for a very long time. The rapper Currency had an amazing streak of albums in the beginning of his career. Pilot Talk 1, 2, and Covert Coupe are 3 of my favorite hip-hop albums. Now, Currency has put out an enormous amount of material, and the majority of it is rather mediocre, but those albums are seminal for me. And Pilot Talk 1 was announced to get its first ever vinyl pressing, supposedly limited to 1,000 copies on Record Store Day Black Friday. Halfway through the day, that was removed from the list, and I did some digging. Apparently, it's not going to be ready in time, so it got delayed, hopefully not canceled. If it comes out at all, I'll be stoked, but that was what I was most excited for. But let's move to number 2. Jose Gonzalez Veneer 15th Anniversary Edition. I talk about Jose Gonzalez on this channel constantly because he's one of my favorite musicians of all time. Amazing folk music that has a magical quality to it. Truly one of the most talented and underrated musicians of our time, and Veneer is his debut album. Veneer also has his song Heartbeats, which is a cover of The Knife's famous song Heartbeats, and I think he does it better. I think he perfected it in the way that Jeff Buckley perfected Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. It's just my favorite version of that song, arguably my favorite song of all time. I don't know, it's just absolutely beautiful, heart-wrenching, and it takes me to another level. This special anniversary edition is not only that disc, it comes with a second disc. The first disc is on olive-colored vinyl, and the second is on light gray. The second disc is the first ever vinyl release of his Stay in the Shade EP, and another amazing piece of music that contains another iconic Jose Gonzalez cover of the Joy Division track, Love Will Tear Us Apart. I have to pick this up. This is a mandatory purchase for me. 1,800 copies worldwide. I should be able to get it. If you've seen in previous videos, my kitchen is littered with Phish posters because my roommate is a Phish fanatic, and he's gotten me into Phish over time. Slip, Stitch, and Pass is coming out on vinyl for the first time. This is one of their first ever live albums. Now, if you know Phish, you know that their live music is why a lot of people tune into them, because they jam and they change the songs up, and they're really iconic live performances. Now, this is one of their highly regarded live albums. It was supposed to come out at the Magnaball Festival that got unfortunately canceled last minute this year. I guess it got pushed to Record Store Day. I'll probably grab it if I'm in line, because if I'm there, I end up getting things that I think I want just because I waited X amount of time. With 6,000 copies, shouldn't be too hard. And then 5,000 copies of Rage Against the Machine Live and Rare. This was a Japan-only release of a bunch of live songs and rarities from early in their career. I love Rage Against the Machine, and I picked up their Live at the DNC release last Record Store Day. Loved it, so I'm probably gonna grab this as well. Toad the Wet Sprocket is doing a box set of some of their material that is quite hard to find. If you don't know Toad the Wet Sprocket, they have some really great alt-rock songs from the 90s, and honestly, I think they're a pretty underrated alt-rock band. This box set contains two of their best LPs, Fear on gold vinyl and Dulcinea on orange vinyl, both 2-disc pressings. Now, they reissued these two albums on single discs not too long ago, $50 each retail. A little pricey, so I don't know what this box set's gonna be, especially since it also includes an EP. The Acoustic Dance Party album is on green vinyl, so all 5 of these discs are gonna be in a beautiful box, foil on the front, and I think a textured kind of thing. It sounds really nice and luxurious, and I'm a sucker for nice packaging, so I'll probably grab it. Cornelius released one of my favorite albums last year, Mellow Waves, and for Record Store Day Black Friday, he's putting out Ripple Waves. 1,500 copies of this, but it is an absolute must cop for me. The first half of it is gonna be all new songs, including a cover of Drake's Passion Fruit, one of my favorite songs, guilty pleasure. And then the B-side is remixes and reworks of past Cornelius songs, I believe all from Mellow Waves. If you haven't heard Mellow Waves, Cornelius is an amazing Japanese musician that's been making music for a very long time, and Mellow Waves was his comeback album, and wow, what a comeback it was. Another solid album was Manchester Orchestra, Black Mile to the Surface. They are releasing a demos EP, 6 demos from that album. It's called the Black Miles Demos, limited to 2,000. I'm gonna grab this too. That album is beautiful. Taylor Swift is putting out colored variants of her albums Speak Now and Red. Speak Now is on smoke colored vinyl, and Red is on, you guessed it, clear. I actually really like these two albums. I think that they are Taylor Swift at her peak, and I will probably pick them up if I'm in line because I really enjoy a lot of the tracks on there. I didn't really love Taylor Swift's most recent 2 albums, but I think that she really hit her stride with these 2, and I would like to spin them and see how they sound. Chris Cornell, rest in peace, is putting out a 7-inch record that contains the unreleased song that was just put out posthumously. It's part of the big box set that I also picked up, so I'm gonna have it on there, but if I just want to spin that one track, 7-inch is probably a way to go, and this black and white marble 7-inch with the B-side of Temple of the Dog doing Stargazer live, this is definitely something as a Chris Cornell superfan I have to own. The Inevitable Rise and Liberation of Miggy Tardust by Saul Williams. Saul Williams is a poet, a rapper, just a great musician, underrated, and this album in particular is an underrated gem within his discography. Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails produced this album, and you can tell, it is industrial rap, industrial rock. It is all over the place, but it is brilliant, and I don't own it because it's out of print, so I'm really excited to grab it now on black multicolor splatter vinyl. And finally, I'm not huge into this band. I kind of started listening to them recently. Type O Negative. Their album Bloody Kisses hasn't had a release in America in a while, and they are doing a 3-disc pressing with the deluxe bonus disc on this green and black kind of smoky vinyl for the 25th anniversary of this album, which is very highly received in the gothic metal world, which is not a world that I know very well. I might pick this up. The package looks just unbelievable. Type O Negative fans will be losing their mind over this. I really like this entry into gothic metal. As someone who is not a huge metal or gothic metal fan, this album is incredibly beautiful and interesting and intense at times, and I really like it. It's probably my favorite thing they've done, so if I'm in line again, I'm probably gonna grab it. So those are my initial picks. As I think about it more, some may drop in, some may drop off, but that's the beauty of Record Store Day. We have a month to figure this out. We're gonna figure it out, have our list, get in line, get what we want. Hopefully, if you line up early enough at least. I'm gonna talk about some of the ugly though, because this list is full of some BS in my opinion. First of all, Record Store Day has this tendency of putting out so many picture discs. Why? We don't want picture discs. No one wants picture discs. I mean, some sound good, but most sound bad. And if not bad, just mediocre. Are We Not Men? We Are Devo is getting a picture disc. Smashing Pumpkins' new album is getting a picture disc. Who asked for that? Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle is getting a picture disc. Why? Weezer is getting an Africa-shaped picture disc, just like the Toto Africa-shaped picture disc for their cover of Toto's iconic Africa. Why? Stranger Things is getting a picture disc for some Halloween sounds, some excerpts from the soundtrack. Again, there are about 50,000 pressings of this soundtrack. Everybody who likes Stranger Things owns this soundtrack. Why are you making this? And something I was really excited to see reissued, Gravediggers 6 Feet Deep, featuring Prince Paul and RZA, on a picture disc! On 2 picture discs! Why? Why can't it be a normal black pressing or anything else but a picture disc? And finally, the most egregious entry on this list, as everyone knows when they saw it and laughed and had a good chuckle to themselves, is the Kidz Bop Christmas album on vinyl, because that absolutely needed to clog up a press somewhere in the world and get pressed above any other album that exists. I mean, if your kids want to listen to Kidz Bop, you're not showing them the right kind of music. Just because it's for kids doesn't mean kids should listen to it, and just because it exists doesn't mean it should be on vinyl. So I don't understand why. So those are my picks from the Record Store Day list for Black Friday 2018. I'm really excited. I'm going to be lining up, and finding someone to line up with me is a lot harder when it's right around Thanksgiving because people are out of town or spending time with their family. I will be in LA, not with my family this year, so I have no excuse not to line up at a ludicrous hour. Of course, I will be doing my usual video of my haul after Record Store Day Black Friday, probably a couple live streams while I'm there, and I'll hopefully meet some cool people along the way. So please leave a comment with what records you're excited for and you're hoping to pick up for Record Store Day Black Friday. Also leave a comment if you have any questions about Record Store Day. Happy to leave any tips that I have for you, because I want everyone to have the best Record Store Day Black Friday possible. If you like this video, I have tons of other awesome vinyl videos. Make sure you dive into the archives. Make sure you're subscribed to Too Many Records for more vinyl videos every single week. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you like this video, and I'll see you guys soon.